Hey everybody, a very giggly Bonnie and Tim, joined by yours truly here at the VOX podcast.
Oh dang!
Straight from Gold Pacific Studios. We are here, and Tim, I first of all, if we're launching YouTube, so you're probably sick of me saying that, but if you're watching it, if you're not, let me give you reasons why you want to watch it. A, Tim is in his tweed freaking jacket with elbow patches. If you want to say, hey, oh captain, my captain, this is where you go. English. Tim, tell us a little bit about.
That punches me right in the tear ducts.
I know, right?
Every time.
Because you're a professor of English.
It's true.
And what better outfit to wear?
There's none.
There's a mantle that when you put the tweed on, it's like,
respect.
Prior to the tweed, it's like, that's Tim. Put the tweed on, it's like, ooh.
I wish I could say that that's how it was when I wore it in the classroom, but for some reason, it didn't quite command that authority.
Do you? How would you handle? Let's say Bonnie and I were your students in your class. How do you think you could deal with that?
I don't think I could.
Okay, perfect. And then the second reason YouTube worthy is Bonnie. Now, people ask why comments about her hair. I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated by the process. I'm fascinated by the art and the science. I'm fascinated by the amount of product that is spent, I'm sure. I don't know, is that true?
I said to Sai the other day, I think I found my products that work. And he
yeah?
goes, oh, good. So we can stop buying all the products to try them out.
Oh, boy.
I said, yeah, I think
Yep.
so. For now.
So, Bonnie, describe your hair right now.
It's just in a top knot.
Top knot.
Top knot.
So, Bonnie, I don't know what the Apostle Paul would think of this because your ears are exposed.
Oh.
And I don't know.
But my tattoo's covered up.
True. So, we're 1 for 2. And then I've literally worn the same outfit all week.
I
So
know, what in the
it's
world?
maybe a little smelly, but enough hair and wardrobe nonsense. We've got some business to get to.
Do you want to talk about the weather?
Yeah, gosh,
you know what?
We haven't touched that today.
Because I'm in Southern California.
And it's
What weather is there?
sunny with
here's
a
the thing.
high
Here's the thing.
of
I mean, if you
75.
don't live in the Midwest, you don't understand. Like, it'll be 83, and then the next day it'll be like in the 40s. I mean, it's just weird. And so you actually have to pay attention to weather because you wear certain clothes. So do I? So I was.
Do you though?
You suck. Okay. Well, all right. Fair point.
I wish I could say that was scripted.
I don't know what I'm saying.
All right.
That was so good.
Speaking of scripted, Bonnie.
What's up?
I don't know. What do you got for us?
Okay, I have an email.
Another mini episode, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. This is, I think, our. We've done several.
Yeah.
This is our several.
Well, I didn't know
issue.
if we were going to do them in order.
I don't think so.
So I was like, I didn't want to name the number.
That's true.
Because that's how professional we are. Mm-hmm. It's like, I'm thinking that far ahead, a split second.
And I'm thinking a split second behind.
Yep. All right, go for it, Bonnie.
I'm not going to say the name of this person because it is personal.
Okay.
And I don't want her. She didn't sign it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Understood.
Okay. I never thought I would be writing, but here I am. I love listening to your podcasts. I find it so raw, open, and honest. I have questions in regards to body image. This is a woman, by the way. It is not talked much about in the church, and it seems to be a very quiet topic. I have struggled with body image since before I was a teen. My parents and pastors have in ways attributed to it by making comments about my body that lead me to believe I was not enough. I don't think I can get through this one. Sorry.
No, that's all right.
I have went through crazy. I did not write this one, even though I'm crying like I did. I have went through crazy dieting, was on the verge of anorexia, and over-exercising to failure to attain the quote body. I am 26 years old. I am still struggling and still haven't attained that body. I had a period of infertility, which may have been because of being underweight and mentally sick. Today, I am a mom of 2 toddlers and I'm still living in slavery to body image. I'm tracking every bit of food and exercising 8 hours a week. I want to find balance and healing, but I don't know where to start. I feel the Spirit calling me to freedom, but I am afraid to let it go. Wow. If there are any resources or passages you can refer me to, I would greatly appreciate it.
Wow. Bonnie, do you want to share a little bit about you?
Yeah. I had a same journey of body image. I don't recall it ever being a pastor or a parent. So it adds a different layer, and that makes me so sad. But in society in general, I always really felt the pressure of it, and I too exercised like maniac amounts and counted every morsel of food that went in my body, and like to the point of having anxiety about eating. And it was a long process out of that, but it was really tough. I mean, that is so real. There's cultural images all around about what women are supposed to look like and how we're supposed to present ourselves. And then there's double standards across the board. Like, you have to be thin, but you can't be too thin. You have to be pretty, but you better not look too good. I mean, it's like, it's insane. And I didn't get better because I finally like achieved what I wanted to.
Oh, that's a big point.
Right. So like, I think that the lie is that if I just get there, all of this anxiety or all of this eating problems or all of these questions I have or insecurities I have, they'll fade away. And it's actually worse. It just compounds it worse because you get closer and then you're like, if I could do that, what else could I attain? Yeah. How far else could I go? And so, and the other thing people always told me was like, it's control. You just want to control it, which actually didn't help the matter, right? Because then I was like, well, watch me control my control. So it didn't help me in that way. But I do think a few things I want to say. Number one, a pastor or a church that says comments about your body that makes you feel that way, that's what we call spiritual abuse. And you don't have to take that, and it's wrong. And
it's usually fat pastors that are talking about body image.
I'm
just saying.
I mean, it's a way to hold power. Because if somebody continually feels that they're not enough, then they will continually do what you want them to do. So I would be very aware of that, and I would also talk to somebody about it. So that's one layer. But second of all, I sought and found my most help through therapy. My therapist was really able to connect me with what was out and why it was out, what was imbalanced, like where these thoughts came from and what I wanted to achieve, and rewrite the story. Not to say that I'm like 100% fully healed. Most of the time I feel that way, but as with anything else, if you're stressed out, or I actually now exercise what used to be a weapon. Now actually my doctor prescribed me to run for my anxiety about other things. So it's actually been really redeemed in other ways for me, because I used to run like 12 miles just like after school, like for whatever reason. And now it's fun and it's really life-giving. And so redemption is 100% possible is what I want to say, but it takes really hard work. It takes outside voices. And it takes patience and grace with yourself. I mean, I think probably I can remember, this is like so sad because I have a daughter, so I think about this. I can remember being young, 4 or 5, and we went into the Disney store, and I tried on, who's that princess that wears the yellow? Oh, Belle. I said it like you guys would know. Oh, you might, because Mazzy. It's close behind. Belle, I tried on like a Belle outfit, and it's like tight or whatever, and I remember standing in front of the mirror and crying because I thought I was fat. At 4. Ugh. And I don't, like, my mom was always body positive, like that wasn't a part of our family, so I don't know where I picked it up, and a lot of it is caught and not taught. But it was deep for me, so it took a lot. It took having children. It took going through some pain. There was like so many things in my life alongside the therapy. And so I fully like believe and will be praying that works itself out with your therapy as well. Like I think you can't do it alone. I think you need somebody to help you walk you through that. But I know that restoration is possible because I've been there.
Mm-hmm. So what I'm hearing you say is, first, get out of those environments that add to the thinking.
Yeah, well, and that add to the thinking, that's huge. Identify and exit those.
Yeah.
Then there are also some things that are probably triggering the thinking and you don't necessarily know. You might be able to identify those, but a therapist can help you do that too, because there are triggers. Like to this day, I used to put this certain gum in my mouth instead of eating, and I had the gum last week. No joke. And I was like, oh, weird. This is the first time I've had the gum and it didn't trigger me. Like, so there's stuff and like it goes into your neural pathways and it literally like creates a habit. So you might be being triggered by certain things, but to identify those and stay away from those for a while is a good idea.
So what's healthy spirituality look like? How do so therapy, of course. How do you bring a spiritual emphasis or conversation or connection into something like this?
Yeah. Gosh, that's a good question. It was so tied up for me, as well as finding my worth as like a woman in ministry, that's kind of a different path. But I think the things that helped the most was actually taking the image off the body, like take that off the table, put it over here for a minute, and let's talk about everything around the body and around the word. So understanding like who I am and who I am in Jesus, and not like what necessarily what he says about me, but giving grace for myself was my biggest thing, because it's a shame spiral, right? So you exercise 8 hours that week and then you're bummed you did that, and so then you're down on yourself, and then you make a choice that is probably a trigger, and then you're right back to where you started again. So it's this odd shame. So understanding a grace aspect is huge. And then I also think identifying the difference of like what Jesus says about women and what the world is saying, and why those are vastly different things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Bonnie, thanks for being so honest. I would just encourage you, first of all, thank you, and I applaud your courage for writing in and being so open. I have had some experience with significant people in my life who've gone through similar things, and I can only imagine the fertile ground for people to say the wrong thing. You know, I mean, this is one that's, I think, difficult to enter into, you know, unless you've been there.
Yeah.
And I guess I would encourage you to follow up with us in terms of what your thoughts are, but also the VOX community is kind of a big sprawling thing, and you know, maybe there's some people out there who are aware of some resources that we
and
don't.
I'll send her a few, like, if I think of them.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right,
for
perfect.
sure.
But yeah, what we can't do is pastor people via podcast, right? I mean, it's just not this. There's no substitute for walking with somebody and talking and having their presence in your life. But at the same time, like, this is such a big deal, and we'd love to help however we can.
If I can add, she's two kids, she's
a
a mama too. If you haven't told your husband, you should definitely tell your husband, and like be truth about the extent of it, because I think that's a huge thing. I think, coming from my experience, it can be easy to convince yourself that your husband loves you or finds you attractive because you look a certain way. So then, of course, also with all these weird messages that are being told that, like, if your husband cheats, it's your fault, or he's seeing all these people in the world and you're at home, like, in your PJs with your toddlers. I'm serious. Like, those have been told to me. If that's what's happening, then of course you're not going to stop exercising or whatever. And like, as soon as I said to my husband, like, hey, this is a thing and it's trapping me, he was like, oh my God. Like, he had no idea I had tied those two things because they were so far removed from him, for him.
Well, yeah.
So sometimes I think we just assume a lot into the storyline. So I think your husband, and hopefully would be a very sound board for you to go, okay, that's not right, and then be able to walk with you.
Yeah. Tim, you want to add anything?
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's so brutal. We're sorry. Please let us know what else we can do, and if any of you are listening and have other thoughts, we'd love to hear them.
Yeah.
And anyway, I'm very grateful for the way in which our little community is willing to go, to these kind of hard places, because these are things, like she said, I mean, they're rarely talked about, and yet, it dominates. As I listen to my sweet daughter's friends, I mean, that's the conversation, and it's absolutely crazy. And there's nothing in my male experience that can understand the pressure, subtle or overt. Yeah. I mean, it's absolutely nuts. I just don't like. What's nuts is that the cultural demands that are somehow picked up. It's not nuts to deal with that. It's just nuts that you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Oh my goodness. And so.
And it actually piggybacks off the episode we did too about being a biblical woman. Unfortunately, in many churches, that gets really tied in.
Well, yeah, one of the
for sure.
Well, yeah, you're sexually available to your husband all the time.
Yeah, and like you.
And part of that is
need to look away that it continually is in his, like what he wants.
You're in competition.
Yes, exactly.
Which how freaking awful. I mean, not only slanderous against the biblical teaching in marriage about self-sacrificial love, but I mean, how ridiculous to give men that out, and
men that automatic distrust.
Yeah.
Like, why is it assumed that you're out like prowling? Right. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
And to put the pressure on the women.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, if anyone's going to be out in my marriage, it's Justy. You know what I'm saying?
It's just like, okay,
I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I think everyone would understand.
No, but it's real. So I do.
Oh,
yeah.
Dang it. All right.
I'm sorry. Can I say one more thing?
Of course. Oh, my goodness, yes.
If you do happen to go to another pastor or an elder board and they don't believe you, that doesn't mean what you're saying isn't true. It means that to believe you would cause a big problem in the church probably, but you don't have to stay there.
About your body?
Like, if she goes there and says,
Oh, okay.
these comments he's making.
Oh, got it. Yes.
I hear it as this.
Yeah.
And they act like you're the problem, you're too sensitive, whatever it is.
Right.
You can walk away. That's not on you.
Right.
That's not your problem.
Right.
You're still right.
Got it.
Talk about things that need to be deconstructed.
Oh, boy. Yeah. And going back to one of the earlier minis, this is why we do what we do, right? And it's not because we're all awesome. It's really not. I'm the biggest sinner in this room, literally.
I'll take you to task.
And nope, no way, man. No freaking way.
You have your tweed on.
Because you have tweed, bro.
Yeah, so you can't.
How can
take you to
that?
Task on that.
If Jesus were walking around today, he wouldn't have a robe on. He would wear a tweed sport coat with elbow patches.
All right, I concede.
And probably corduroy pants with the knees worn out from praying so much.
There you go. But truthfully, it does speak earlier to what we were talking about when we were called those liberal co-hosts or whatever. That's also why it's important, and this is cheers to you, of like, why do you allow also a woman in the space?
Absolutely.
Because if she wrote this in, you'd be like, I don't know.
Well, I have the opposite image.
I'm not sure. But you know
So
what I
I
mean?
can't
Like,
relate to
if
that
we ignore that, and that's why it's so important in the church, because she doesn't have anyone to talk to in her church.
No, totally.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that to me is even an argument just practically for why women should be very visible.
Yep.
Yeah.
Regardless of what you call them, I don't care. But they should be upfront, visible, pastoral presence.
Yep.
Because of these sorts of
Yeah.
things that are just, I mean, it's rampant. It's unbelievable.
I was going to say, because 50% of your congregation is female, but it's probably
It's probably more.
higher than that.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right.
Thank you for your vulnerability in writing in. And
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Bonnie. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. We shall now close with the revelation of our code names. We're hiring a VOX security team,
We are not.
And-
I said that Erie looks like my bodyguard.
and so we want to have just very quickly what our nicknames. If we had security, what our nicknames would be. All right, what would you name yourself, and then what would others name you? All
Okay.
right. So Bonnie, what would you?
What we would do, but what someone else
Yes,
would follow.
yes.
I said mine would be Beyonce, and then you said you would call me Queen Bee.
I would totally call you Queen Bee.
Maybe that's how we should do it. Is
Andy Lara
we
used
say
to
what it
call me
would be,
Queen
and then
Bee.
you say what it should be.
Well, that's what. Okay, that's what I thought I was setting up there.
Oh, I thought you were saying that we would say both.
Oh no,
Oh,
no,
sorry,
I'm
my
sorry.
bad.
But I'm giving
I
myself
ruined
an
it.
out.
All right, do it. All right, what would yours be?
Jeremiah Johnson.
Was a bullfrog?
No, Jeremiah Johnson was the Robert Redford movie.
Go on.
You guys never saw Jeremiah Johnson?
No.
Well,
Like the one where he's
Wow,
out by
now
himself way
you
out
know
in
what
the-
it's like for me on this podcast.
Where's the Crickets app?
Yeah, exactly.
oh, hold on.
Jeremiah Johnson.
It's the one where he was out in the wilderness by himself for a long time.
Um.
Oh, well, you guys. It's
Oh.
a wonderful film.
Okay, so that would be your. Why would that be your?
I thought you said that earlier when we were talking about it.
Well, I didn't understand it.
Thank you.
It's like 7 minutes late.
Doesn't matter.
I do appreciate it.
Doesn't matter. Okay, Jeremiah Johnson.
Yeah. It's a killer name. No one will know who you're talking about, apparently. So I'll go super incognito.
I know,
All right.
Mike's not very incognito.
Throw Beyonce. Here.
Beyonce. What? Yeah, that
Exactly.
doesn't
Then it
decrease
deflects.
security.
No, it deflects. It's like, let's look for her.
Yes, well that's true. All right, what would you throw out for Timothy John over here?
Mark Twain. You don't know who Mark Twain is?
I know who Mark Twain
Oh
is.
my gosh.
Oh,
Why didn't you know what? I
Samuel
changed my
Clemens.
mind. I changed my mind.
Queen Bee.
I want mine to be Hermione.
You're okay. This game went nowhere
What's
fast.
yours?
Because this is not your Patronus, okay?
I
This
didn't
is
say it was
your
my. You've already
security
said my Patronus. My
nickname.
security
Yeah, we
nickname
established our
is
Patronuses
Hermione.
on the previous episode.
Man, you're the confused
dolphin?
one here. Yeah, a dolphin.
What was mine?
The Ohio defensive line.
Yes!
Ohio State
Come on,
defensive
tell me.
line.
Okay.
And what was yours again?
Jeff Bridges.
Oh, that's right.
Oh yes.
That's right.
Okay. So you would do Jeremiah Johnson. I would shorten it to Grizz.
Grizz.
Just
oh,
Grizz.
Grizzly Adams.
Grizzly
Is that what you
Adams,
said?
Grizzly Bear. I mean, that's where I'm kind of looking at, just
Yeah.
going for the hair. Queen Bee, and then I would dub myself Millennium Falcon, shortened to MF.
Okay.
That MF is on the move.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Unless you guys have a better one.
No, I think you're an MF.
I don't think I do.
All right, friends. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord shine his face upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance to you. And in these days, may he give us peace.
Amen.
Thanks.
Amen.